Another copy, because I had to find that one last night.
Yeah.
All right. Is?
Yeah. I was supposed
Did
to,
you update it?
No, I don't think it's been all.
yeah, it was, but it's been updated from last year.
No. I don't think what I printed off that Brittany sent me has anything to do with utilities. That's what I'm saying.
Right. So I didn't get it to her in time. Actually, I forgot to send it to you
Okay, that's
guys.
my
I
whole,
was supposed
that's
to.
my whole thing. I got my email. I'm asking you, can I bring that email up? That's good. That you gave us back in August of last year.
And actually, she did put
True
it
it is, though.
in this packet.
Is it a new packet today?
Yeah.
Well, see, I didn't get that yet.
You just got it.
I just got it. What do you mean I just? Okay, now I'm on the same page with everybody.
Last 3 pages are
Gotcha.
ours. I was supposed to send that out last week, and I forgot.
Yeah, I haven't
Asked
compared,
about that yesterday, and I figured we'd go off what you sent us.
Yeah.
I haven't compared it, but.
Okay, just so everybody knows, we are recording this as an open session. I'd like to call to order the work session for, I think it's USB and council for May the 26th. Is that right? 26th?
Tommy's birthday.
Can I get a roll call, please?
Sure, we got Councilperson Tony Abbott.
Here.
Councilperson Justin Knopper is not here at the present time. Councilperson Tommy Roulette.
Present.
Councilperson Lenny Fryman.
Present.
Councilperson Brett Von Nuren.
Yes, sir.
We got Utility Director Billy Kennett.
Here?
We got sitting in for City Attorney Doug Gardner.
Here.
We got Mayor Kelly Malone.
Here.
And myself.
Okay, thank you everyone for coming. This is really something that we hadn't done in the past, but I think it's a good thing to start doing. You know that the only topic we're going to talk about today is capital projects. Obviously, the department heads and know exactly how the process worked and that got us to today. They've had input on their capital projects for their individual departments. We have talked about it and spoke about it. I won some, I lost some, probably. But I think we're in agreement with the going forward. Of course, Mark and Brittany were involved in the conversations with the department heads as well. And what this is today is I just want to go through the list. And if you have any questions, I mean, obviously, if we question everything that we have, it's going to take most all evening and into the night. So what I'm asking is any ones that you really have some concerns about, and mainly for either 22 or year 23, we would discuss today. And then if you have additional questions, maybe talk to myself and or the department head after the meeting, if that would work.
Yeah. And if anybody, if any of the supervisors or anybody needs to talk, if they can come up to the microphone.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Mayor, and for clarification, the first list I had that I went through yesterday, I went through and checked off some of the items that were budgeted already.
Yep.
For 2022, and they're now, that money's exhausted or spent, whatever.
Yes, yes, there is some projects that have already maybe been done, completed, or accounted for. Yes. Yep, you're exactly right. And we try to keep that, the capital plan is sort of evergreen, year to year, and some things get pushed for whatever reason. Some things were encumbered, the projects get encumbered, especially in Mario's case, with some of those projects. So those are probably the things you've noticed as well. So, but you're right. So what I'd like to do is start first with the, it looks like streets and roads, if that's the first one on your list here.
I don't know.
Under Mario.
Oh, okay, yes, it is. Okay. I'm with you, I'm sorry, my apologies. I'm going from one to
And,
the other.
and I'm going to go down through these, but mainly touch on the 2022 ones. Downtown streets, east side, west side. Quick explanation what that is, Mario?
Basically, it's just going to be a lot of our maintenance, catch-up intersection, that type of. And we're waiting, is Judy here? Some of this is going to have some of her Okra or
Community crossings?
community crossing type
Yes.
stuff involved.
You say catch up,
Yeah, where we haven't done a lot of our street rehabs. We have patching,
oh, okay. When you said
Yeah.
crossings, I thought you meant where.
crosswalks. Yeah, yeah.
I got some things to share about that too. Crosswalks.
Some of them were the brick ones, okay. So that's more crosswalks you're saying?
Well,
No.
rehab.
Yes, well, we've got another project involving crosswalks. Remember we were talking about the brick pavers?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're getting pricing on that right now.
You've probably noticed over by Hollywood, some of the deflections, some of the
Oh, I
failures.
see them all over the city.
Yeah.
That's my point. $70,000 ain't much, but if you're doing just a crosswalk,
Right.
okay. Because I think Mr. Abbott brought one to our attention as well. Gotcha.
Well, that would just be for this year.
Yeah,
Yes.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
remember
West
this-
High Street, everybody knows where the Flaherty Collins is. You've seen they've got some patching done down there, but we are gonna be redoing the entire,
Mill and overlay. the
Road down
whole
there.
front there. Matter of fact, we've got it scheduled to put back for the Board of Works at your next meeting.
right,
We've got 3 quotes that have been turned
Okay.
in. Yes.
good. All right, Front Street, the truck route,
Again, that's a mill pave.
yeah,
And we're working with Billy on some of the bump outs and curb corners where he has some light poles hit. We're actually going to try to protect those.
okay. Billy Road Phase 2, I think you guys are aware of, that's the community crossings money that's allocated for that. That should be taking place here in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Correct.
Is that correct? The plan, we already have a plan for that one. Dowdy Road is the Okra storm sewer, or the grant we got,
Correct.
that is gonna be starting as well. I think you guys are well familiar with that. So for 2022, that's the extent when we're talking about streets and roads that we know of today. You can see 2023, some items that just mainly identified for the same kind of work that we do in 2022 will be done in 2023, and that kind of thing. Any questions regarding this first page? Okay.
I haven't got it this time.
Okay. Second one is parks, is a little bit more, detailed, I guess. You guys are familiar with a lot of these for 2022 already. The 250,000 for the ramp dredging is exactly what we were talking about down there where the new docks or the new ramp is. You guys know about that. Tanner's Creek concrete, is that for, what's the concrete for, Mario?
We've got some pads to pour for like the portalets.
Got it. Okay.
We're moving those portalets out.
The deck rehab on the Dearborn Trail Bridge is something we put off, and we need to get that started and done. So you guys are familiar with that, I'm sure. George Street Park upgrade is going to be minimal. Doesn't look like there's a lot that we have to do down there, some minimal things. So there's not a lot of money that's allocated to that. But then Arch Street Park, you guys know what that's about. The sod has already been done. Pads have been poured. Benches are
Ordered.
and as soon as they get in, they will be installed. Ludlow Hill Park entrance upgrade, new sign and the roadway. You guys seen? We did some work up there 2 summers ago, or last summer or something. Cleared out a bunch of stuff.
Well, the
at
landscaping.
Yes, a bunch of landscaping. Also, the bushes on your right as you come out of the park are going to be removed as well. They are overgrown and some of them are dead. So that is all going to have sort of a new look. We're not changing the entrance. We're just changing, the sign and doing some upgrades there for landscaping.
Your Honor?
Yes.
I sent you a message yesterday about our Arch Street Park with the swing set. Bolt was missing.
Yeah.
If we can't fix that, could we take that swing off? Because it's a double
free?
swing.
We fixed it this morning.
Oh, you did? Okay, great. I was gonna say, if we couldn't fix it, we need to remove it before somebody falls on it.
Speaking of that, do we keep extra bolts in stock for that?
We do,
Whole setup.
we've, on a couple of different occasions,
Yeah.
we've gotten bolts from the vendor, nuts and all that stuff.
Because them are specialty bolts. They're inverted
Yeah.
Torxes.
Right,
You
so
just can't.
you can't just pick them up anywhere. So, yeah, we've got extras. Now, I don't know if we have bolts to
For
account
everything?
every piece, but
Just as it comes apart, you find that out, huh?
if not, we have.
It seems like it's happened a lot here lately.
A lot.
Bolts. Thank you.
Okay. Question. Next you see Ludlow Hill Park. The 12,000 is to stain the shelters that we have up there, and then the 10,000 is for 2023 for the rear pond riprap, is what we're gonna do with that.
Hey, what you calling me riffraff for?
Well, that's,
Huh?
that's riprap.
Trying to get rid of me?
You're riff raff. Whatever. Ludlow Hill Park, you guys see that sidewalk ADA compliant? That's the one going to the new playground, I believe, right, Mario?
Correct.
And that's going from like the parking lot up to the,
Make a crosswalk and up over that riprap area to try to join the existing walkway.
$18,000 sidewalk?
It's gonna probably have 2 switchbacks in it. In other words,
Oh, they keep.
we can only do a certain
or ADA, so.
I'm trying to pitch that. I'm like, woo, all righty then, gotcha.
Something I talked to Parks and Mario about was also our restrooms getting upgraded at all the parks. So that's the Ludlow Hill Park upgrade in 2022.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Pertaining to parks while we're on that upgrade.
Absolutely.
Are we going to pursue the grants that Mrs. McAdams are looking to, for the parks, or are we just doing it on our own?
You know, the grant was only for a 5-year plan.
Yeah.
It's not for
Right.
to do anything with it. And I turned it down at this point.
So we will take our parks and do them ourselves, gotcha,
Well,
part of it.
well, that money wouldn't be, what you'd be able to use for this. The money that she was talking for that was just for a plan.
for like a Parks Master
Oh, I
Plan.
thought we could upgrade our
No,
restaurant.
no, no, no.
Now, and once you had the master
Not
plan,
know
you could
that.
apply for a grant for the rehab.
So we will do these in-house basically, or whatever. Whatever we have to do.
Yeah, and unless the state or something comes up with grants that, because what she was talking about was a 5-year strategic
I misunderstood her.
park plan, so,
With you, thank you.
you bet. Okay, you see the Ludlow Hill Turf football field. This is, and I'm gonna, I suggested this based upon talking with Mario and Roger a lot. The amount of man hours and we do up there, chemicals, sod replacement, fixing things. Like the other week, I think we had a bunch of ruts because people were out there playing on it when it was wet, if I'm not mistaken, Roger, if that's accurate. I said, what about looking into turfing it, you know, where we can use it for Pee Wee football, but it also could be striped for soccer. And then, you know, baseball teams could even go up there and practice in, you know, as they feel. It'd be multi-use, such as the one over here at the high school, right? The whole justification for the one when we did it at the high school, when I was on the school board, was what you spent over that 10-year span or 8 to 10-year span on your chemicals and your replacement sod and all this other stuff, and the amount of times when people couldn't use the field because it was too wet or muddy. So I thought, well, let's take a look at this. Well, Mario's talked with a couple different vendors. In fact, we just got a new price today, turnkey, everything for like $615,000, which sounds really
Compared to the other one.
economical. When you take a look at what you spend over a 10-year span, and that's what you know, you get an 8-year, I think on this one, there's an 8-year warranty on the turf. But you take a look at what you even spend over the 8 years. I believe in the long run, you're going to save money and it's going to get more use. Okay. So we put that in for 2023, just something to think about.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yep.
But I think it needs a lot of discussion. That's a lot of money, but I'll take it into consideration.
Well,
And the thing is, keep in mind, the reason we're having this right here.
I get it.
We got budgets coming up soon.
Yeah, yeah.
And these numbers will be in the budget, so
I'm with
if
you.
there's questions, concerns, you need to,
and if we
sure that
put
we're aware
something
of
in
these
the budget,
questions
Tommy,
and
your
And if we
sentiment
don't
exactly.
want it, we don't do it.
We don't have to do it, but we will be putting those numbers in
yes,
the
I mean,
budget.
soon, yes.
Yep.
Okay,
So just good discussion.
thank you.
You're right. Okay, tennis court repair, what we're doing up on the Ludlow Hill, as I'd asked Mario, I've had a lot of requests for pickleball. And we got 2 courts up there, and very seldom are both courts ever used. So we're gonna convert one of the tennis courts into two pickleball courts. So that'll be happening, and Mario's talking to the company to do that, so
Good deal.
that'll be a good thing up there.
Now me and Lenny can play pickleball.
That's right.
Whatever that is.
Yeah. Okay, Todd Creech Park, the bridge, concrete patching, riprap, pumps, a number of things have to, need upgraded down there and updated. So you'll see that in 2022, we're gonna start most of that, and most of it will be done in 2022, and then 2023, 2024, and it's more of an ongoing thing down there. That does not include the skate park, upgrade or anything like that. Okay, that's just for the bridge and the things going around, the new pump for the, I think it's in the pond itself.
Correct. The riprap has already been
Yeah, I was gonna
placed.
say part of it's
Yep.
already done.
Was that a Parks budget? Was that where this money's coming out of? I try to find the numbers gently.
Should
Okay.
be.
And Brittany, I think it's out Parks Maintenance, correct?
Maintenance?
Okay, well, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I'm good. I said, thank you.
Oh, the next one, skate park wall and expansion. We got 78,000 in there. The wall itself, has already been done.
Correct.
The expansion, from what we're hearing, where's Mr. Noppert? That doesn't even touch the expansion. But I think they're looking at some ways to trim the fat a little bit.
So would that cover the consultant, you think?
That might cover the consultant, but
Yeah.
for the engineering, it'll cover the engineering.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, that's gonna have that come out of your budget, though, so.
But,
We can take it out of our council budget.
yeah, there
Oh,
you
that's
go.
right. We don't have any money in the budget, do we?
No, we took that out.
Sorry about that. Good try, though.
Yeah. Okay, the next one is Babe Ruth Field outfield irrigation. That's something that's needed to be done over there for a long time, and it just never did get done. The Little League field has irrigation, correct?
Yes.
And is it working properly now and everything?
I think the Babe,
Couple of heads that need to be
yeah,
replaced. So as far as the irrigation though, yeah, for the most part it is. There's a couple heads.
so there is irrigation at Babe Ruth infield though, correct?
On the infield, it's
Yeah.
just the outfield.
Yes.
anyways.
Okay. I thought we had you corrected on that.
I thought I did too. We have now. We had a glitch.
Anyway, and I know we did, food will be coming in about 10 minutes, guys. Anyway, any questions on the parks part there, guys?
Not for 2022, but 2023, I got a question.
On the turf?
No, I'm talking about if we're done with the whole thing there.
Which one?
2023, the Ratliff land
Yeah.
landing dredging for $1.2 million.
Yeah, that's the mouth of the river as well. That includes the whole channel.
Okay, this came about in 2020, and we talked about it, and then I thought we were gonna work with DNR.
Yes,
Is DNR assisting us in this in any way?
not
Are
yet.
we gonna bite the bullet?
No, well,
Well, it won't be a financial involvement, it's gonna be a permit involvement.
But $1.2 million, are we gonna have to start charging people to go down there and dock their
You
boat?
cannot charge.
it's a public.
There ought to be some grants
That's-
somewhere to get this
I
done.
just- You know,
You can say that. Listen, we look at every grant we can look.
I get it, but 2017 or 2018, if memory serves me correct, there was close to $500,000 spent down there for dredging. And now here we are again.
Oh, yeah.
And now we're at 1.2?
Well, the first was a maintenance dredge. It was, just in a small area. This goes from the mouth, from the river, all the way back to the old new dock or ramp.
So again, I'll ask this question. If we do that 3 years later, is it gonna happen again and we gotta spend $2 million, dude, I'm lost here, man. It's a lot.
No, I think what we need to do a better job of is, once that's done,
Yeah.
is doing a better job of the maintenance.
Maintaining correct. The problem has happened
How do
now.
you maintain a creek?
Well, the problem in the past was when I&M was here,
Correct.
they'd run their
Tugboat.
their tugboat through there, and
Yeah,
it
is what I understand, yeah.
helped move all that silt and stuff. And correct me if I'm wrong on this.
You're right.
Yep, I remember Mario telling
For
me.
years now, we haven't had that. And honestly, we didn't know how to fix it. And then we consulted 2 or 3 different firms. Obviously, then we had we did some, and we had a lay down or a place to put the
Material.
silt, the
I
material,
remember that.
because that becomes a problem.
I remember that. I watched the whole.
Yeah, absolutely. But so that's where we're at. I think once we do it and do it right, and I
Keep
don't
it
know,
open.
we think we can maintain it then. If that makes sense.
But that's my question. How do we
maintain
maintain? it?
Maintenance is.
Maintenance dredging.
Maintenance dredging. Okay.
Yes.
Which is a couple
So
$100,000
maybe once
regardless.
every
Yeah.
year or 2 years, you
Well,
have
it should
someone
be-
come in and
Should be
back it to the river?
every other year, we'll do a maintenance dredge.
Let me ask the question here.
Okay.
Because I said something to him
That's a lot
about
of
this.
money.
Why can't we run some pipes down there and aerate to run down through there to where it moves the mud after you get it cleaned out? Maybe once a week or something, save a whole lot of money just to blow it on out to the river and let it take off.
You would,
The core muscle clams.
yeah. You can't disturb the
They won't
bottom.
let you do that?
No, the DNR was involved in giving us a couple solutions that went along with our dredge, which was a wing wall at the curb where the cooling ponds used to be at I&M. So since I&M shut down and there's no current coming out there from I&M and they don't run their tug and everything, it just silted in. Well, the problem is, at the mouth of Tanner's Creek, there's a 4-foot window, exactly 4 foot deep, to get a boat out of. So if you don't have your lower unit in that 4-foot window in a boat, you're sandbarring your boat every time. There's been numerous boats stuck there.
You
Right.
say the mouth of the Tanner, is that going into the river?
That's where, if you remember the old cooling pond of I&M, it
I
had,
can't, yeah.
had an outlet on both sides.
I
That
think I
created
do
a
remember
bunch of current that didn't allow the silt to escape Tanner's Creek.
At one time, it used to be 40-foot deep right there.
Yeah, and it should be. So, once DNR's opinion, once we dredge the mouth of the creek, it's gonna allow silt to natural, when Markland Dam pool
Up and
closes,
down,
rises
and
and
pull it
lowers,
through.
it's gonna allow it to pull it through.
Yep.
They think with that and a wing wall, that our maintenance dredging from this point forward will be minimal. But they couldn't, like the mayor's, that's why he's skeptical, they couldn't guarantee it.
And you may go ahead and say, from this point, if we do not a thing, probably next 4 to 5 years,
They can't get out.
they'll be shut down.
It'll be Mud Creek in Ohio.
How did Florence do theirs, or Patriot?
All Patriot, they did a
Well,
maintenance
they're-
dredge.
Theirs was shut down for a while.
They did a
Yeah.
maintenance dredge, same people who
Wow.
used.
They did a maintenance jet.
Mhm. It
Did they
was-
get any grants?
I don't know. Yeah, Mr. Weldon might know that.
Wouldn't we be cheaper off just to buy a tugboat and run through there all the time?
I'm about ready to flag one down on the river and have them go down there and do it.
Or yeah, rent them, have them come up there and do it.
If we can
Yeah,
make
yeah,
Tanner's
just
Creek a
kidding.
no wake, like Law 3, honestly, I mean, I don't know what that entails. You know, you make it no wake, meaning bass boats can't run 70 miles an hour down Tanner's Creek. Silt basically comes from backwash of boat motors hitting the banks
Oh,
and everything's
okay.
silting in. So, if we can make it a no wake, from right there at the bend, all the way past this second bridge, what is that? You got Tanner's Creek Bridge, the second bridge is, I don't know, it's a train bridge, fifth bridge?
No, it's not
Well, it's
fifth.
not fifth. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, like in Greendale, that would be perfect.
How deep is that water up through there, past Seagram's up through there? Or Proximo, whatever that is,
In the creek,
in the creek?
there's areas of the creek back there that's 18, 20 foot deep,
But
but
it's all settling up here at this end.
Yeah.
can't get out, yeah.
Yeah, here's the mouth of the river. It's blocked. Everything else is stacking up.
Yep, I see what you.
And it just goes further and further back, so like even Tanner's Creek Bridge, if you go under Tanner's Creek Bridge, it's only like 9 foot there. So, but if you go another quarter of a mile, it gets down to 20 foot. So it's silting back all the way back, and that silt eventually becomes our problem. If we don't do something about it now.
Sounds like it's ours right now down there.
So how do we make it no wake? Is that DNR that does that, or?
Yeah, I mean.
Put out signs.
Yeah, I think we can do it. I mean, I think we can do it.
Yeah,
But
I'd say,
I don't know what the state red tape is. I think they'd be all for it, actually. That was another suggestion from DNR.
Now, the mud that comes out of there, is it contaminated? You can't just
It's not,
put it out in the field?
it's not approved to fill,
Yeah.
it's just muck.
yeah.
It's
You
muck.
can't just.
It's
put
gotta
it
have a
anywhere.
fill permit associated to it, yeah,
It just. you
I know
just
we
can't-
talked about that before,
yeah.
and
You just can't put it anywhere.
right.
No, it's worthless.
You know, guys, it's like everything else we own.
Well,
Honestly,
it's one of those cases, you know, be careful what you wish for.
yeah.
We wanted the boat docks. The Corps gave it,
Who wanted the boat docks?
the city of Lawrenceburg wanted it.
I don't remember.
Oh, this is years-
Any part of saying I wanted it.
This was years ago.
That was years ago, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh,
I like going down there and doing donuts and stuff when I was a kid.
hate to say it, but that's mine and Mr. Seymour's idea. Old man.
Just keep
Senior.
that to yourself.
So, yeah, I think it's gonna, we'll still
That's
have
worth
to have more
discussion.
discussion next year.
I understand a little bit better now talking with you guys.
Yeah,
And I often wondered that if it was right there at the mouth of the river.
yeah.
But you know, we laugh at it, but would it be a better option to buy our own tugboat?
But are you allowed using a tugboat to do that?
Well, and it's not,
mean-
it's just not that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think they,
Listen, guys, you go to buy stuff like that, be careful. I mean, you go to buy something like that, then there's a whole lot of other outfall from it.
Oh, gosh, yeah. Insurance and people to run it and
Ask
everything else.
Mr. Tremaine what insurance costs on just the water rescue boat we have. I mean, it's not cheap.
Probably don't need to hear that sticker shock.
But it's not cheap, is it, Johnny? I
the
mean,
boat was free, wasn't it?
yeah, boat was free.
well, you know, really, honestly, though, I mean, you got down there, Aurora, the barges down there at that grain elevator place. Isn't there somebody, I mean, you got boats running through there, that's little small tugboats that can do just like what I&M does.
Well, you would
get
outsource,
with
we would
one
outsource it. We
project
would
that-
go find somebody to come in there, and what they call wheel wash that. you
Yeah.
know, every so often, yeah.
But the thing is you have to dredge it before you do it. They're not
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
blow that out.
No,
No,
That's the
Build
thing
up to
everybody
that.
needs to understand
it's to
here.
the point where they can't.
Yeah, you would have to
they couldn't even
clean
get,
it,
yeah, they couldn't even get
dredge it,
in.
I mean, and then do that
Correct.
maintenance.
Correct.
I get what
Yeah, I
you're saying.
think we gotta, we're gonna have to bite the bullet on the initial, I think. And then we're gonna have to be
Right.
very diligent on keeping up with it.
Well, again, when I opened that up, when I received the first one from Brittany, I'm like sticker shock. I'm like, whew.
Well, the last dredge, that's what it was, Tommy. We didn't, the mouth of the creek was never opened up. So
Correct.
eventually it silted right back in.
Yeah.
Yep, live and learn, huh?
Yeah.
All right, let's take a little 5-minute break. You guys go ahead and grab some pizza and stuff, and then we'll just work through lunch, if that's okay. We can keep talking.
I'm
after
good
that.
with everything in 2023 too with that. Other than that football field that we have to talk about.
Okay.
If we want to.
Well, you start figuring that out, though. Chemicals and stuff, it might be better if you're gonna use it, multi-use it, instead of just
8
football
years,
field.
you know, 8 years, you're $600,000.
And it may go down.
Yeah, that damn boat dock is all my fault. Me and Mr. Seymour Senior.
Well, the thing is you gotta think of stuff that's gonna save money in the long run. It's not what you gotta put up front. We can save the school.
And you hope the next administration, whoever it be, if
School, is that who takes
they
care
will follow it.
How would they save the school money?
On their turf.
Oh, yeah, but they don't use that for, well, they do use coffee.
Yeah.
more of them.
You know why?
Brings me those, brings me hats, knitted.
Them ones we had, or was you in the meeting?
Dave.
Where did the sandwiches come from, Mark?
That truck that I bought?
Oh, Mark. Where'd you get that from?
First you There's a sensor underneath the manifold. He said it cost me $500. Missing real bad because he had to take the manifold. So, I mean, it was missing real bad. So, go ahead and do that. And he calls me over there and goes, "I'm going to show you this. You got to rewire the whole engine. All the wires are melted together."
Planning on doing those cars for you. I'm like, yeah, I gotta stand on that floor. This is what it is. I'm good with it.
Will you get it done?
It's done. It's going back down for this weekend for something. Not quite sure. It's either fix his or let him drive ours.
There is no sound. Huh? Peanut M&M?
It's raining.
I don't know why she didn't get any.
I'm not complaining.
Hey, I like it. I know, hey, you're always thinking. Just don't understand what.
Really, he is always thinking. Do you know that?
Hey, did he buy that motor? Keep going here.
Yeah. Hey, I greatly appreciate that. That's what I told Brittany and us tonight. Never had this happen.
That way we can ask the question.
Yeah, have discussion. There you go.
And then, okay, I'm gonna put this in, but I know we're gonna have to have some more discussion.
Yeah,
Makes a lot of sense.
it does.
All good, man.
I'm telling you, it's greatly appreciated. You don't know how much it is.
You know what I found?
They said it's all gone. That's what it's very boss. Where do you get it done at?
To the right side.
You know everything I know.
But, yeah, well informed. Should have had you get me a water.
All right.
Moving on.
Hey, I'd like to keep moving on if we could. You guys can keep chomping, and we'll move on. The next one that we're looking at is building maintenance for most everybody in the city. We'll start with police. HVAC, 180,000. And I'm just going to go through these three real quick. Training facility, 210 is something we've talked about in the past. Convert training room to offices, building remodel, that's out in 25.
Thanks.
One thing that has come about even after our discussion on this was maybe at some point we need to really take a look at an LPD renovation. And follow me here. Number one, the way it's set up right now, these discussions have been with Chief Snyder and Mario and myself mainly, and I think Mark and Brittany may have been in those too. And but when you look at the LPD right now, the way it's set up, it's not probably the safest setup that we could have down there. Number one, city court, you have to walk into the PD to go to city court. Really, city court should be on the outside rooms where it has a separate entrance, okay? And then everything behind it is PD, right? There's other things I think we could do that, this training facility that we're talking about in the back, we may be able to eliminate doing that if we did a remodel on the interior and we made them a bigger, larger training facility on the inside, okay? So I think, and let's talk about HVAC. You guys know as well as I do, and Mario obviously knows, we've been putting Band-Aids on that HVAC down there for years. It wasn't engineered correctly, okay? It wasn't engineered for commercially, I don't think. But so we've been putting Band-Aids on that for years. And this 180,000 that we're looking at is probably another Band-Aid. So at some point, I think we really need to take a look at what can we do. Let's look at a renovation of the building, okay? And if we have to add any additional space, we can always go to the south of the building, okay, in that empty lot. All right?
There's 2 trees there now. It's not available.
2 trees. We can build our tree house around the trees. But anyway, I think we need to really take a look at that particular building because we keep spending this money that really maybe we may have our money back in 7, 8 years, 10 years if we just did a renovation and did the things the right way at that point. So I think we may, if we can, we may try to hold off on spending any big capital down there. And I think it would pay dividends if we just maybe had an architect go in and design something to what it could look like based upon what their needs are and such, and then maybe moving city court out to the front offices instead of in the back, things like that. I think it might be help control the waste of money. I think we're wasting some money down there.
So are you basically saying too, we won't mess with the HVAC this year, we'll just Band-Aid it?
If we can, yes.
Yeah, we just, enough for them to be comfortable throughout the year.
Correct me if I'm wrong, right now that has multiple units with different A-coils and different sections of the.
Correct. Tony could probably best describe it. It's
So what would you do if you did put just one big unit out there to
probably be a
do it
couple
all?
RTUs and/or split units, whatever the architect decides.
Sort of what you would see up on top of the LCC.
I mean, things are
Gotcha.
more efficient
I'm with
now
you.
to use split units in a lot of places.
Okay.
But I think we can do some things internally. I mean, I think the building's in good shape. It's just, I think we can rearrange some of the internal pieces of it to make it a more
We did do a roof
usable.
survey too. It needs a new roof on it also.
But I would say that's the best built building in Lawrenceburg, really.
We
It's
think that,
built to last forever.
we think the guts are the
bones are-
structure is fine.
Yep.
It's just, I think we need to rearrange the internals. And I think that's what really needs to be looked at. And I think we need to maybe start taking a look at that because we spent a lot of money down there.
I
So-
think we rushed that in the tremendous administration when we went there, but we were all giddy because we were getting them off at 50 and in the big place.
I got you.
But we,
Is that when that happened?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We bid it hard.
Okay.
So you want to, instead of putting 180,000, you want to check about renovating the whole place altogether before we do this?
Well, I think we just need to get an architect to look at it and an engineer just to see what is capable of doing
Before we
there.
do anything at all?
Yeah.
That wouldn't be a bad idea.
So, LCC, you guys know about the exterior project, the rehab. That's the new entrance down to the community center. That's the last of the real expensive costs down there, I think. Exercise room, we put on hold a little bit, but we're looking at maybe looking at ways that if we need to replace any of the existing equipment, or even maybe do away with some of the equipment there. It's a very crowded area it's very underutilized. And there's some things in there that probably need to be taken out. So actually Richard is working, Ryan Kniga is gonna work with him on the weight room itself and see what is really needed and what maybe isn't. So that's happening. PA system, and that's more of a, I talked to Bryson yesterday when we had our meetings about his projects. Currently, there is no PA system in LCC. So somebody at the front desk, if they needed to page somebody, they can't do it. So that's what that is. That's a small cost. Parks buildings, Agner Hall, the inside rehab floor, restrooms, removal of the garage door. You see that. This is stuff that we've been talking about and just needs to be done. It's just normal maintenance, actually, that needs to be done over there. The pool, gutters, HVAC, roof coating, admissions building. You see that kind of stuff. Everybody knows the kind of stuff we're doing over right now with the liner and such. Parks office, restroom, we'll be able to do that in-house with our folks. Ludlow Hill Park garage. If you guys ever been up there, it's a great area up there, but it really needs some TLC, if I can say it best, I guess. And
You're
Roger.
talking about the building itself?
Yes, in the back of where Roger stores
Right, I know.
stuff, and it's a great building. It's just not really been taken real good care of, I guess. It's the best way, and updated, and
Roof's in bad shape.
lighting, I think, and
Is that a metal roof? Is that a metal roof?
Yeah. It's got, what is it, 2 or 4 skylight? Needs to be removed.
so that's something that's going to be taken care of. Fire. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
Is that building big enough up there for you guys?
Yeah, it's big enough.
Good enough?
The only thing we store are mowers and some other equipment up there that we just primarily use up there, so we're not sure how.
I notice when I go up there, when you guys are pulling stuff out, it's pretty crowded in there, but,
You need to stay out of their way.
oh, I stay away from work,
It
trust
wouldn't be
me.
so crowded if you stay
I'm
out
not
of
getting
their
up there
way.
to get where I have to work.
Oh, you're not going to do anything.
I got binoculars,
You
I'm
mean the parks crowded or the building?
the building.
Oh, I cleaned it completely out.
Did you?
Yeah, like a year and a half ago, so it's a lot different now.
It just looked like you didn't have enough room in there when I was looking up there, but,
There's plenty of room. Yeah.
Maybe that was when Mr. Pope was there.
huh?
Maybe that was when Mr. Pope was there as the foreman. Toby Pope.
Oh, I'm not saying nothing. I don't know if it was
I
that.
want
It
you
just
to,
seemed
I'm
like
just
there's a
saying.
lot of, you guys got a lot of equipment and stuff up there. It takes a lot to take care of that park. Really does.
Yeah, right, so our mowers, and we have everything on battery tenders, so we'll have a truck and about 6,
Yeah.
7 mowers up there in the winter.
Okay. Fire department. They're in need of a new grease trap, concrete repair, Tate Street Station. You see what's committed there.
Do they have a grease trap currently?
It's, no,
For the bay,
yeah,
Oh, okay.
we just found it.
yeah.
So you're adding an additional grease
This
trap?
is for the kitchen, because we have a lot of.
You gonna start a restaurant?
Uh,
You gonna start a restaurant?
No, we do have a lot of issues with the, kitchen,
There's a lot of bacon that goes through those drains.
especially at. Healthcare.
Yeah, the health fair, the biggest bacon bonanza we have is for health fair.
As the old saying, bacon goes good
It's like
with
an
everything.
oxymoron, isn't it? Health fair and bacon. And then the mezzanine, that's on the far end of the building there,
Yeah,
right?
It's just additional storage
Yeah.
to get it up off the floor.
Data center. Right now, we're holding on the roof because that's part of the projects that we're having Veritas Group look at, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Parking lot, sidewalk, remove windows in 23. I think you guys may or may not remember. Tony may remember. I know Mario does. Back when the parking lot was put in the front there, where the street, where the curb cut was done and wasn't done correctly. It was against Mike Clark's wishes, I believe. From my talking with Bryson, and Bryson can add to this if he'd like, but data centers, the less access you have to a data center, the better. That's what people want. And for those of you that don't know, Cincinnati Bell is going to be starting to rent racks from us, and where we're starting that revenue stream. And there's going to be certain things that people are going to be expecting out of us as owners of the data center. And one is limited access, and they don't want people parking in front of the data center that could run into the data center. So it will probably, that front parking lot will really be turned into a grassy area again.
What it used to be before, yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. But
So-
I guess it makes sense, so you'll be removing all the windows in the front too, other than the glass doors maybe going in?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it's just drywall on the window. And I don't know if the windows were ever tested for wind or whatever, so let's just
I-
take them out, block it up, make it safe.
Could put glass block windows in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as aesthetically it looks good, I guess.
Yeah, whatever.
He's got a reputation to uphold.
I hear you. What is it? The Bryson Center.
Yeah, that's good.
Mario calls it the
I
Bryson.
like that. I'm gonna have to write that one.
Okay, miscellaneous, clerk treasurer's office remodel 2022. I think, has that been completed, Mark? Okay.
Yep.
And then roof in 2023. City garage bird issue.
Yeah,
It's bad. It's on the
There the other
lean-tos,
day.
right? Yeah. We know that. And then wall repair in 2023, which has been needed.
do you have an idea what we're gonna do on the bird issue though?
We've, Bird Beyond has a net system.
Bird be gone?
Bird Beyond, if you want to go online and check it out. Maxwell's actually going to price putting the Bird Beyond system in.
Yeah, man, I looked at that app, those trucks and stuff. Wow.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad. I wouldn't even want to touch the stuff.
Nobody's gonna get sick.
Yeah, that's concerned me. I'd be cleaning it.
They all moved from the gazebo down to the garage, didn't they?
Yeah. Yeah, they did. Yeah, you're right.
You get a chance, go over it. It's bad. I'm telling you, it's
Their
bad.
gazebo bad, birds are bad.
I was just over there the other day. I'm like,
No, the gazebo's doing okay, right?
They're all gone.
Yeah. They moved down to the city garage. All right, that's good. All right, gutters, city administration and city garage, that's been something we've been needing on the administration building here.
Yeah.
And then also we'll need to be touching up the roof as well. There's some spots that are starting to rust.
catch it on the right time during the rain and bring a bar of soap, you can take a shower out front.
Right out here.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah.
The Verdon Bells, the new face that looks in 2023. Once again, it's, we install it, we gotta maintain it. Downtown restroom facility is on hold, and that's mainly, we're talking about over at Civic Park, right?
Correct.
And that could be part of another project that we're looking at. Questions? Thank you. Okay, Chief Tremaine. Fire Department, rescue tool replacements, pretty self-explanatory. And stop me if there's any questions, guys, because a lot of this stuff is routine stuff for those guys, but just it's that if you need to know. Staff replacement vehicle, this is the vehicle, it's a 2007 Crown Vic that Rob Schutte currently
Yes,
drives.
And it's been replaced by the white Ford.
yes.
Yep. been done. SCBA, you guys see in 23 and 24, doing some in each year. Engine replacement is out to 24. And which one is that? That's the big one, right,
Yes.
John?
And on here, we would be moving it to reserve, and then it's noted about the tower ladder, and then rescue one, we would
Yep.
sell those.
So we think we're
Clarify.
going to be able to sell off some apparatuses in lieu of just purchasing one.
Which engine would you be replacing? Which number?
The one that's up on the hill, the one we used to run all the time.
Oh, yeah, I got you. Hilltops, I'm with you.
But we
The
have,
one we ran yesterday, or was that we ran the smaller one yesterday? On that call yesterday, was that the
No,
75
that's the
footer?
big one.
That's the big one.
we have,
Engine 4, it'll just go into reserve.
Okay.
we have 2 ladder trucks currently.
Yeah. As far as the ladder trucks, those are, that's probably what you're talking about. You've seen the little one yesterday.
Okay.
The big one we have on the hill, it's 105 foot, and it basically sets. So with our surrounding area having aerial apparatus now, there's really no sense us having to.
Years ago, Aurora didn't have it, Greendale didn't have it, and we were the only ones
I
that did
remember
have it.
We were volunteers.
So now we don't need to. So if we can, we're going to try to mitigate most of the cost of a new one with doing what we
You're
need
talking
to
about
do.
hanging on to E4 though, right?
Yep.
As a,
It'd just be reserved.
Yeah, that's what you got down there. I see that. Okay,
Okay.
got you.
Turnout gear, instead of buying it all at one time, Chief is identifying which ones need to be done at certain years, and we're doing it over like a 5-year span. Really nothing. LFD boat, we're looking at, they talked to me about this, a month ago or so again, I guess. There might be an opportunity for us to have a new water rescue apparatus and an actual boat that we could fight a fire from, but only at 25% cost to us. 75% be done through a grant. So we're looking into that. I think Pat's working on that. So we may be coming back to you guys if time is of the essence or whatever. We don't know. And we don't know what that cost is just yet. We're waiting to get the pricing back. But that's the direction that we're looking at.
I think it's a good thing, sitting back and thinking what we're planning on trying to do.
Well, and
Put a walnut.
glad you said that.
You know
Well,
what I mean? We're
down-
expanding that.
Down here,
Boats.
with the new project on the docks.
Yes.
We're thinking about, we would park that boat down there during the open hours, spring, summer, and fall. Is that correct, Chief?
The last time we were gonna buy a boat, a far boat, we went to New Jersey, didn't we, John?
Yeah, I didn't go on that trip, but that's.
No kidding?
Yeah, we went to New Jersey and that thing was about ready to sink.
So you bought it, huh? Okay,
so is the $100,000 what our match would be? So it's a $400,000 boat?
we don't know.
Okay.
That's what they're working on it.
Seems cheap for,
We just put a number in here.
Brad's boat is more than that. It's just our.
Brad's got a boat?
I got a kayak or whatever.
Hey, are all
Okay.
of our guys, I know there's a lot of them have gone through some swift water training and, are there the water certifications that they already
Now,
have?
when we took on this, past several years ago, there was only one certification we'd get in the state of Indiana, and it was swift water. So we've got like 15, 17 swift water techs, and, but we've probably got right now, probably 6 or 7 capable boat operations, which we would increase that, of course, if we try to increase it anyway. That's what we got now. We don't do any diving or anything like that. Blackwater diving, I'm not a fan of that anyway. I mean, or dark water diving. So I am a diver, but I wouldn't do it in the river.
So we don't know what that number is just yet? But- Okay. All right, next, any other questions regarding the Chief Germain's?
You all right, chief?
All right, Rick Clark, EMS. Rick's not here today, but pretty self-explanatory. You guys already know about all this. Ambulance is already in the works. The Medic 4 cardiac monitor in '22 is the $45,000 charge, and then the Lucas CPR device in 2023 is the $17,000. Powered stair chairs, those might get moved up to 2022. Simply because of, we need to provide as much safety apparatus we can for our guys when they're doing these, a lot of lift assist and then other types of stair moving people.
It's quite the feat to watch that happen. 'Cause right now they have like a refrigerator dolly that has the belts on it, and they can strap them in. And it's, I mean, they
Yep.
they get it done.
Yeah, and but we need to, so they're gonna look at, purchasing those three chairs. Any questions about EMS? Okay, police, and bear with me on this one. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Just giving you a hard
Went over
time, Chief.
stuff for them,
Just giving you a hard time.
like their HVA, oh.
No, really, everybody's been really good about it.
We love it, Chief. You're
Okay,
all right, bud.
you guys see the watch guard ×2 in-car camera? That's for the 2 new vehicles that we purchased.
Got it.
The lab cell phones forensic, that's for, they're purchasing what they need to be able to, what do you call that? Do our own cell phones.
Our own cell phone forensics.
Also, yeah, our own cell phone forensics. Looking at replacing some radios in 2023. Interceptor cruisers, you see that, we've done that for the last 5 years, I believe, is 2 cars a year, replace our fleet.
Chief,
Yes, sir.
were those any of yours that were over at Hagout when I told you that? There was like 3 of them over?
No,
Huh.
Oh, there's some over there?
again,
You said August of last year too.
yeah.
Wow.
Is there some over there sitting?
There was 3 of them over, and whenever I see him, I'll call him up
Yeah.
and tell him, I say, hey, your cruisers are in.
Yeah, I went there that day, those were
Yeah.
going for.
Huh. Wow. Okay.
The only other thing I really wanted to touch on is our firing range in the basement in 2024 is looking at more of a overhaul, I guess. So it'll be ready for that, and it may even be part of the, if we end up doing a renovation, it may be part of that. So we'll just see how it pans out if we end up going that route. Any questions for Chief Snyder? Okay, next would be Mr. Massey. This is for Civil City, MVH, Parks, Maintenance, Remedial. Got the foreman here as well if we have questions. Wheel balancer, something we've been needing. Where'd Rodney go? So we're doing that in 2020. We haven't bought that yet, have we?
Yeah.
It's here?
Yeah, I was
Okay.
gonna say, that's bought, the tire changer's bought.
Bought, yeah. A building maintenance truck is here. Air compressor, we bought that? Okay.
Good deal.
And the Parks truck, has that arrived yet?
It's built.
It is built.
I get email updates. I should be notified when it goes to Boone.
Okay, good. And that'll be this year. You guys knew about that. It's already been
Yeah, we've
approved.
already or spent the money for that, yeah.
Mowers, you got a couple, or one we're gonna have to buy in 2023. Looks like.
Roger, does that meet current price demands? That seems a little bit light on a decent, talking like this 72-inch zero turns.
Yeah, well, Blake and Tyler use for our smaller parks, they use the stand-on, and those are usually, I don't know, maybe $8,000 cheaper than what your
Yeah.
ride-on is. But yeah, I mean, from what I've looked at,
Okay.
it seems about right.
So that 16 grams will buy multiple, is that what you're saying?
16 would be a ride-on, and then the 13 is probably, it may be a little heavy for a stand-on. So
Just one.
you're talking, yeah, a commercial 60-inch Ferris is gonna run you about 60 grand.
And we've got some fairly newer mowers over there that we bought last 2-3 years,
We
right?
bought one stand-up one last year, and I think the more recent ones we purchased before that were in 2018.
18, yeah.
So
You get a lot out of it.
Oh, yeah.
I get a lot of hours in the terrain. It's rough on 'em.
That's why 3 years just seems like a long span to replace, I mean, just, especially if you're only replacing one every 3 years.
Yeah, I'm at the one I have, and I use two on the hill, a 72-inch for open area is 60, where anything that has a ditch line, the 72 is just
Right.
weighted up. And I think I've got 470 hours already on the one we got in 2019. That's just the one I use.
I mean, I'm just.
That counts,
what I'm getting at-
that counts them going over and mowing your grass too.
What I'm getting at is I would even propose that this could be, if we could raise these maybe every 2 years, just cycling this through, just looking at the amount of, we keep adding on civic parks and everything else that we keep adding to the docket for those
Oh,
guys
yeah.
to cut, so I'm just,
We build it, we gotta feed it.
yeah.
Concrete. Okay, let me go through this one. Rear loader garbage truck in 2023, I think we're running on borrowed time on that right now, if truth be known. Really, that's remedial camera for vac truck. This is something that's gonna be, MS4 is coming, guys. We talked about it, in an individual meeting before, but, Matt and Zach and John Johnson and Doug actually went to MS4 update and sort of some training, I guess, a couple weeks ago, I guess it was. And April is a drop dead date for us to have our plan in place. And then
2023.
2023, and then we got 18 months after that to have implementation. 6 months.
We have 12 months to get our plan together and give it to IDM.
And with 18 months, we got to have
And then
implementation.
from that date of April of 23, we have 6 months to implement it and get the wheels running.
Okay.
They give you a little bit of a curve there to get it started.
And what we're doing is we're getting ahead of it. We're not waiting until April. We got a meeting with a consultant next week,
The first.
and we're going to get started on having them describe to us what we need to do to get this thing down the road. So we'll keep you guys updated and things, but it's going to be a lot of extra paperwork, and extra work. But I think we'll be able to get ahead of it, and I think they feel pretty comfortable we can get ahead of it.
I don't understand what you talk about a camera.
This camera, yeah, let me explain it. This camera is a camera that goes on the end of the vac truck nozzle.
It goes on.
Yep.
And then they
Film the
can,
storm.
they can
They can go inside
they can,
pipes
they
and
can,
stuff.
they can camera the,
Okay.
yeah.
Versus just pulling a manhole lid, you're only seeing that catch. This we'll be able to put on, go from Center Street to, the Zion Church, and we can say, and we'll get a high definition video of any debris.
You could even be vacuuming it out and it'll
Yes.
give you,
If there's a
while
little
the
bit of
camera's
debris,
on.
we can clean up as we're going. And,
Be able to tell you where you got a leak at instead of trying to find a leak. You
Well,
know where it's
that
at.
and with MS4, we're gonna have to document, all of our storm, how clean for pollutants. I mean, there's a lot.
all lines are gonna have to be cleaned on a maintenance.
Yeah.
I see where they're
Our
going.
whole system has to be cleaned every 5 years, per IDEM. This is not just
Yeah.
what we wanna make up. IDEM and EPA is saying, you're doing this, you're getting audited.
Yeah.
So this
You better have
camera,
the paperwork.
This save a lot of money.
this camera will go with the vac truck the utility has.
Yes.
So there's none
We
there right now.
utilize what we have already.
Okay.
We have a camera, but it's not,
It's a still camera which goes
you
in the
can't,
manhole,
you can't use it with water and,
and you can only see so far.
This one will go right down the line. I got you. I'm
We
with
can
you.
run right along the whole, anywhere from 6 inch to 2 foot. We'll be able to go through.
And so that Matt doesn't have to
That'd be-
mount that camera on his
that'd
head,
save a lot of money.
shimmying through the hole.
Yeah.
I've seen the cameras
I
you're
ain't
talking
been
about.
in too many holes.
We've had them come with, and do demos at the wastewater treatment plant years ago. I'm with them.
Okay, guys, the next three are,
Can we go back to the,
oh, yeah, absolutely. Which one?
to Brad Massey's?
We
With the issues that we've been, and this is just a question here, with the issues that we've been having, I call the one-armed bandit, are we not looking to replace that anytime soon?
27,
2027?
that's the 350. Rodney said he can piece it together till then.
I just put a floor in it.
So it's in the same line as the rear loader?
Yes.
Well, you having trouble
I
with
mean,
hydraulics?
I know we're not gonna be, we're gonna utilize it the same way we are when we go into the recycle, right?
Absolutely.
Routes are gonna stay the same.
Well, that's
It's
what
just one day's garbage, one day is recycle.
Yes, yes, sir.
So you really feel that we can get,
That I don't know about. I don't know if you're gonna use the truck on recycling.
We did talk about this in our meeting. We may have to move that up
okay,
a year or two, but that's why, you know, when we go out like 5 years, now next year, when we come back and we do this, we may say, hey, Rodney gives us the lowdown and say, really, we need to move this thing up a
Okay.
few years, you know,
how old is that?
that kind of thing.
That's a 15. We just put the floor in it, rollers in it, and 3 valves. I don't know. I didn't even consider
Didn't
the
Liskey
cost,
do
but
something
it's
with the
gotta be fixed.
differential on it a while back? It was astronomical.
That was the,
You're talking floors, you're talking about where it dumps in?
Yeah, that floor.
You
Just,
Oh, yeah,
know,
I can see that getting wore out.
it may make sense, and we had spoken a little bit about this, if we end up moving that up to get a new one, right? Then we use this old one for recycle only, and we use a new one for garbage,
Well, I think
which makes a lot of sense.
finding is, I mean, it's down a lot for maintenance, just
yeah.
bearings.
When
here,
I
pumps
see-
here, there's things, and that's,
When I see the rear packer coming to my house and dumping the cans, I know something's wrong with the one-armed bandit.
Yeah.
right,
And I've seen that a few times here recently.
yeah.
Is the hydraulics on that, is it too small, or does it need to be a bigger unit?
No, it's all right. It's just stuff wears out. There's so many.
Yep.
equipment
Yeah.
parts that it just wears out.
Are you in need of a rear loader worse than you would need the one-armed bandit? Okay. Well, here's what I'm going to suggest if we could, because it sounds like to me 2027 might be too far out. Is that what you guys are thinking too?
Well, I
Sounds
just
like
know
with
it's
the
been broke
conversation.
down, but if Rodney and them think they can get it through, but again, if you can't, you're just gonna have to say something, and who's ever setting up here is gonna have to make a decision, whether to buy it or not, you know what I mean?
What if we moved that up to 2024? And the reason I'm saying that is that gives us another year of the whole recycling thing. So we know if maybe we need to have the old one for recycling only, and then we have the new one for garbage.
Have we set some times on this recycling? I mean, 'cause
Yeah.
we don't have anything.
September's when
I
it's
mean,
starting.
we don't have anything in the budget yet for.
Don't need anything. Don't need anything.
Don't need anything?
What do you
Oh,
want to do, you
dude,
just want to spend money?
We've already spent the
Got the
money and
cans.
we've got grants.
Okay.
Starting in September.
You mean
I
like
did,
recurring costs?
All of the-
I thought it only covered a certain percent of it.
It did, but we already had money into this year's budget for the other stuff. It's minimal.
So it's turnkey, we're ready to go, once we
Like-
get everything.
Like the can, Brittany, correct us.
We haven't technically paid for anything yet, but
Right.
we're gonna use rainy day, services. If something down the road comes up for services, we will have to appropriate.
Yeah.
I could cover it for now, but even the grant cost doesn't take away from the budget, you still have to pay the full amount.
Yeah, we gotta pay the full amount even and get reimbursed on the grant or whatever it goes.
And that grant doesn't go back into the budget, so.
But timing wise, Mark, is,
Yeah, I just didn't know the timeline on
the
that.
timeline is, I believe it's gonna be a September rollout. All of the educational pieces and stuff are gonna start coming out in June and July. The there's a committee that's working on all that. I think Brad's part of that, and Justin's part of that, things like that. But that's a good question.
Now, if we moved that to 2024, is 300, was it 350,000? Would that cover a truck like that? Yeah. I figured it'd be more than that. Excuse me?
We want to start now, though.
You're gonna have to order it now, because it'll take about long to build it.
Well, if they'll take an order,
As long as we don't have to pay them beforehand?
we probably have to pay a deposit.
Yeah. Oh, boy, that's the thought process there, isn't it?
Why don't you check into that, guys? Check into what the lead time is, and then check into, will they take an order on a promise or a letter? Or a check is in the mail type thing.
Tell them we got a ladder truck they can hold as collateral. We're not.
Tell them that Brittany won't let us cut a check. So.
That's good, though.
No, but it's good. I'm glad you brought that up. Let's check on the lead time. I think it's worth doing that. So that truck is only 7 years old.
Yeah, it's a 15.
Yeah.
You figure it's.
How many miles that going on it?
Not right off the top of my head.
600 dumps a day.
Yeah. Wow. No wonder the floor is all ate out, right?
Get that with them hydraulics.
The arm we rebuilt 3 times.
Yeah. It gets a lot of work.
I was just wondering if that was really, because when it comes to height, it just don't, to me, I don't know if it's big enough. I think
Oh,
it needs to
about
be a
all
little
the
bit
same,
bigger
weren't
than the
they?
one we got. Not as far as, but I'm talking about the arm itself. Is that a small arm?
Oh, you
or
just
do they
don't
make
want
a
to take
larger
your
arm?
can down to the driveway, do you?
Not longer.
Get an extend arm.
He wants his can reach around the backyard and.
Oh, boy, it'd be nice. I get hollered at all the time if I forget it.
I hear you. I do too.
All right, good questions, guys, and good discussion there. Okay, like I said, the Bryson Center is,
That's what I'm naming it too.
this is the next 3 right here, guys, and these are all, we've done a lot of vetting on these, so they're pretty legit. Okay, data center. And if you got questions, I'm gonna let Bryson, if I don't know him, he's gonna have to explain them. This is PLC management. This is a control mechanism, and the logging of all the facility equipment. That's a price here in this year. Has that been, any of that been spent yet?
No.
Okay. Building management, environmental management, temp, static air, water, any of that been spent? Okay.
No.
City migration to the data center badging system?
No.
Certifications?
No.
Okay. So all that will still be done this year, correct? We look for that to be completed this year. Questions on that first page?
A lot of that's pretty normal, just for if we have tenants, that they're gonna wanna see certain criteria about like spikes. When did the generator kick on today? We have no idea. So this will give us all that logging, along with moisture and everything else.
So those are all one-time costs, nothing in the future?
Correct.
Okay.
Thank goodness.
I like him.
Yeah, I know.
Bryson Center.
Bryson, you're the man.
I don't want to sign any more contracts.
I know. Okay, IT disaster recovery project. This is something that Bryson's been working on and made us aware of, obviously, early on. This is, for lack of better words, Bryson, this is in case we lose everything,
Yeah.
right?
A virus attack, explosion, something,
Yeah.
tornado, whatever the case may be.
You guys can see that most, everything's been pushed off till after this year. And I think a lot of that is for us to get the data center all up and done and completed before we go into this piece, correct?
Yeah. And actually, the top line item, that IT assessment, that 35,000, I'm gonna give all that back.
Okay.
The state of Indiana is paying for Purdue University.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
Where was you at again?
The 10,000 and the 25,000 on the top line,
Okay.
that will,
Yeah,
that
okay.
does not need to be budgeted.
That's fairly new.
Purdue University is paying for it.
They're gonna pay for it directly, versus us.
Excuse me.
Well,
Yeah, they pay, there's a grant to the state, so the state and Purdue work it out. They sent us a zero-cost bill, and they'll be here 2 times this year.
So take it out.
Yep.
yeah, it's not something we have to pay for and then get reimbursed
Are
for.
we outsourcing that business impact analysis then? Is that what,
Right now, yes.
okay, when you say 392 hours, 75 grand, that's like $191 an hour. I mean, is that
That's, yeah.
going rate for?
Yeah, I can
For
talk
consultants?
to the company and the cost that
Absolutely.
they gave, and that's actually 20% less than the cost that they gave me. So I'll talk to you about it.
They hired?
Yes.
Okay, IT capital project, or capital budget. These are things that we have been wanting to do for years. You know, for years, we always just replaced everything at once, wrote a big check, and whatever. So, top line, 20% of the laptops. This is something that his department is going through and identifying, okay, when this one needs replaced, this one needs replaced, and that one needs replaced, so which is something that really need to be done for quite some time. The event center wireless technology, this was their tech room, I believe they call it, or tech,
The
what do they call
entire
it?
event center wireless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why are we responsible for that?
Well, we get paid, we get a rebate, we get paid back.
Yeah,
Correct.
So we,
Right.
and this was all, I was told we own the building, so we own the infrastructure. But the event center and the casino manage it day-to-day style things, so they sell our internet, and then they give us a percentage of that back. Brittany showed me the one where Moose got all that approved. You know what I'm talking about?
I know what he's talking about. I have never seen them reimburse that.
Well, they haven't even used it. This is for the tech room.
Yeah.
That's what the reimbursement was for. Is if, remember back in, well, it would have been back in your day. There was X number of dollars approved, I guess, through USB, for, the, doing the work, a particular one of their conference rooms, make it I'm gonna say high-tech room, I don't know what you call it. But then there was an agreement, supposedly, I guess, where then if they rent that out to, say, some healthcare agency comes in and rents that room for 3 days, and there's a upcharge to that, right? Part of that upcharge is the city was paid back a percentage of that upcharge, okay, to help pay back our investment into that tech room. Now, I don't know where all that,
I think I know how they're paying us, and I can show you, but it's several thousand a month.
okay.
So you do think there's payment for that?
Yes.
Okay.
I think after this, we can chat, and I think we'll see that.
You and Brittany can chat?
Yeah.
Okay.
So is it in our best interest to own equipment in that building, have our equipment there?
This 160 is not, this is for the wireless, this is for the building itself. We own the building. That was the agreement, I guess. That we own the building, you know, they're paying a mortgage for 20 years. And so the wireless piece of it was part of the building.
So a little bit more of the background, there's tons of issues with it. In every event that they've had this year, they've had tons of issues. And we have to pay the technical person who did the install to continue to do this.
Right.
The first event back from COVID, we paid $30,000 for 1 week for this person to be on site to make sure that that worked. 30 grand. And bonkers. At that point, we were steaming from the ears, but there's nothing we could do about it. We were kind of, that is what it is. So, so the way that it went initially is there was a quote to do it right. And we did several things in an opposite direction to try and save a little bit of money. And now it's very, I'll say it's hokey. Doesn't play nice, needs constant attention. And
By the way, that wasn't Bryson that did that or anything. It was
Yeah.
before all that.
Get it, I get it.
So this is going back to, the original proposal, we had it refreshed, and this is actually, the P&G was like super stoked about it, so it's what they need to provide a better service. It is expensive, but.
I mean, I'm sure they're super stoked that we do all this for them. I just make sure that there's some type of,
Yep.
reconciliation of that expense if we're gonna.
If the HVAC goes out on your rental property, what do you do?
Well, is it a rent, do we hold the note on it? Or
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we hold the note, but we don't, it's actually, they have the deed to the property. Just hold the note like a bank, and they're paying that deed, is that accurate?
That's.
I mean, it's like a land contract, we don't own the building,
That's
it's
what
their
I'm thinking.
building. We're just holding the note, we could sell their note on the open market and recoup, I know there's an EDA involved in it as well, it's more complicated.
Well, you can't do that.
Right, but on a typical note, you can,
Yeah.
but it's just,
I
think we need to have a deeper discussion on this and kind of, we want to help them, we want to see them succeed, no questions. That's.
Oh, by far, yeah.
But how much is this is our responsibility? And we're going to provide to them fiber, reliable fiber, to their projects. But how much of the, expense of all of their technology should we be bearing? I think that's a deeper discussion we can talk to later on.
Okay. I think right now, I think in the last 12 months, I can verify, but I think they've paid us a little over $25,000.
In the past 12 months?
12 months.
Yeah, how much have we spent? We spent $30,000 on that one guy to be there, so.
Well, we're gonna keep having that. We'll have
Right.
that at least one more.
unless we do this.
I get it.
Yeah.
Right, so we need to talk a little bit more thoroughly about this.
No, I think it's a good investment. 160,000, how long is it gonna take to get that 160 back? At paying 30 grand?
A year.
No, 30 grand.
He's saying if
An
you had to
event.
pay someone out to
An
fix
event.
it.
30
Yeah.
grand was one event.
I know, but that's not saying that was right for us to, we had to do that because of this agreement. We need to talk through this a little more.
We
deeply.
can't change agreements that were made.
Well, no, we can't, and we wouldn't want to do that.
Not that we agree with them, obviously. Good question. Network switches, this is purchase of network switches. LPD camera, NVR. There's some significant things going on with cameras at this point. Number one, you can't get cameras.
Yeah.
Number two, if one of these NVRs goes out, we got problems. Because explain it.
So the brand that we have 100% of our cameras with today is that U.S. inventory is shrinking. And based upon federal guidelines for using that company, it's only getting worse. So right now, if NVR 5 failed at the police station, there's 100-some cameras that are just completely offline. It'll take us probably 3 months of going to every camera, reprogramming it, setting it to another NVR, and shuffling them around. We cannot get spare equipment for the camera system anymore. We've contacted the manufacturer, and there are 3 top suppliers in the U.S., and none of them say they have any inventory, and there's no ETAs.
So it's basically obsolete now.
Yes.
How long have we had it?
Some of it,
Over the last,
5 years, we've been replacing.
if you think back to replace the Rapid Eye, so whatever that process started was probably around 18. And some of them were very expensive cameras, and some were whatnots. But like the intersection camera, we just had one go out. Was it Walnut? 50 went out, and we're able to get one. And right now, we're trying to look for another one. No one in the U.S. has that camera yet. Another intersection camera.
It's amazing.
It's done. We have to either steal one from another intersection, or we just have to live that it's not there. Or we got to add 4 individual cameras to take place because that one that had 4 in it. So it's basically we got to switch directions. We got to get away from our current vendor, and I can explain more about that. But we can get away from our current vendor, and we have to go with a U.S.-based camera supplier. Unfortunately, they're 3 to 4 times the cost per device. So what we used to pay $250 for, we can now expect to
But it's US based, and is there, how well do they keep inventory?
There's no issues.
You know what I mean?
with it,
That's,
Right now, but what's it say going on 5 years from now?
Technology.
Change all their
You have
obsolete,
no idea what's gonna
obsolete
happen with
again?
technology in 5 years.
yeah. The companies that we're talking
Never
about,
ending
Good
story.
point.
look at me in a year. An iPhone.
the companies we're talking to
That
now
never
have been
happened.
around for a while in the US, and, I don't think they're not gonna go anywhere, so hopefully we don't have these kind of issues.
Yeah.
Bottom line, technology is expensive. Simply because it goes out so quickly. And then you gotta replace or find other vendors.
Or go back to the dinosaur days.
And sad it is to say you need those cameras at these
Yeah.
intersections anymore. For first responders and everybody else, man. It's just the way it is.
Yeah. Okay, those are all really the big ticket items. Firehouse
Spend the
conference
money.
room. I'm sorry, firehouse conference room. That's been needed, it's a great training facility, in there. And, it's been needed updated for quite some time. We've had a number of events over there where stuff wouldn't even work, or it took forever to get it to work, things like that. It's just one of those things that's obsolete again, right? Bryson's been working with, Clear Sound, to get, some quotes and things like that. And, really, it's cheaper than the other quote you got from the other company, a lot cheaper than the other.
Dramatically cheap.
Yeah. This 68,000 is for the Cadillac, though. It's for what everybody over there wanted they wanted, right?
Yeah.
So we may scale that back a little bit, but, to get what they need, not what they want. But it'll be sufficient, trust me. So,
Yeah, I think the assistant chief was over there the other day and had an incident with it, didn't
I don't doubt it,
he? Yeah, when I was there.
Sometimes it works.
It was originally, this thing's probably 12, 14 years old. And it was the only thing available at the time was a guy that installed this stuff in churches. So that's the basis of this. I bet it was probably 15, 20 grand then.
Okay, all right. USB. Let me see here, we're looking at the electric company first. You guys can see, a lot of this is stuff that just has to be done. SCADA, AMI metering upgrade, you guys know about that, that's an ongoing thing. Let's look down here to new electric department office. That's part, isn't that gonna be part of the Veritas or not? Okay, so that's part of the Veritas.
Do you budget that differently when the projects they're gonna be helping manage that?
Well, we can't really because it has to come out of his budget for this one.
Okay.
Or if you notice, the ones that we had are not in our budget because we're gonna have to see what that money is actually gonna be. So he'll have to do the same thing. I'm talking about Billy. Let me see here. Anything you guys that catches your eye that you want to ask Billy about?
The only thing I'm gonna ask is I'm gonna compare it to, is there anything on this sheet, Billy, that you didn't have on what you give us back in August of last year?
Yeah, so just to explain, most of the 2022 stuff that's listed here, it's a long list. A lot of that stuff, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 items that were part of the 2021 budget, but the project or the invoices didn't get completed or come in until this year. So we wanted to make sure, because this money will come out of the 2022 capital budget. So a lot of these projects that you've seen were approved last year and they're in progress. We just didn't get them all paid for before the end of the year.
Do we not encumber?
You don't have to.
Yeah, and there's, okay. That's right, Elm, okay.
So, Tommy, what we have in here is SCADA for the substations. That's that upgrade that was approved for the software upgrade, and some additional recommissioning that we have to do. The AMI metering, that was approved through that last year's budget, or 5-year capital budget. There is an additional $8,000 in here for the animal guards. When they laid out the animal guards for the Walker substation, they didn't do the upper racks of the substation. And after I seen what was going on, I said, yeah, we really need to get those upper guards. So that $8,000 is for some additional animal guards. The GIS mapping, we've already approved that, but that is a new one for this year. And then the electric department office, I split that up into 2 years, thinking that the engineering and maybe some construction would start this year, and then the bulk of the construction project would be next year. So that's one project, but split between 2 years. Replacing Jay's truck, that came as a surprise to me because we replaced Jaron and Scott's truck, and then when it came right down to it, they went and got Scott's truck. Jay went and got Scott's truck because his truck was better than Jay's truck. So that one caught me by surprise when that happened. But that'll be the same, Scott's truck was in bad shape. That's the reason we were replacing it. And turns out Jay was even worse than his. So it'll be the same F-150 that we've been purchasing for that. The electric garage lighting upgrade is new. Somewhere down the line, they decided to replace that HID with LED lamp, and it's an insufficient lamp. So if you go in that garage at night, it's very dark in there. It's actually led to us hitting one of the garage doors trying to get in and out of there. It's tight enough to get those trucks in and out as it is. So we want to put good LED lighting in there to get that properly lit in there. The pole trailer, our existing pole trailer is a gazillion years old, and it will only carry up to a 40-foot pole, and most of our poles are 45-foot and above. So that definitely needs to be replaced. And then Concord Square was in the capital budget for last year. Everything else you see in there was in there in the capital budget last year.
Questions on electric? Nope. Thanks, Billy. Water?
So the computers were added, but those have already been approved by the USB. Everything else on here was included in the capital project, the 5-year capital plan from last year.
Is the US 50 water main gonna happen?
It has to.
This year?
So it's gonna be split, and actually, a couple of things, we have added additional money on that US 50 water main. They are working on the engineering, and they had a preliminary design, and it just wouldn't work because everything's so tight. What we're trying to do is, some of that line sits down like in the river bottoms, and we were trying to get it up on the pavement because some of it is like 10 and 12 foot deep where they filled over top of it when they expanded 50. And it turns out everything is just so tight right there on 50 up above. And so we're really having a hard time mapping all this out. And we're back to re-engineering another solution. So that is pretty close to being finalized as far as the engineering. and then, we'll put it out for bids but the price tags went up on that quite a bit as well.
Went up 200K, didn't it?
Yeah.
What I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that's, the GIS mapping has been added, but that's been approved by the USB as well. So that's it for the water.
Okay. Any questions, guys? Sewer?
The sewer, everything, actually, all the cash flow for electric and water has worked out very well. We tried to maintain at least $1 million in this depreciation fund. Unfortunately, with the sewer, there's more project needs, not wants, but needs that need to be done. And it's actually, getting into, under the $1 million range. One of the things that I'll be making appointments to meet with you guys, with Andy retiring, Andy has so much of this in his head as to where everything's at. And so I've sat down with him and we went through in pretty good detail of all the sewer system. And then we talked about all the needs that need to happen with that. And unfortunately, with all of the needs that we have upcoming in the next 5 years, we're not going to probably fund the capital budget through the way we're moving money into the depreciation fund right now. So it's something we're going to have to take a hard look at the projects and what we need to do to properly fund those. But we're probably looking at about I think it was around $5 to $6.5 million worth of stuff that needs to be done, and this also sets us up for the future as well. What's happened with a lot of this is, they did a fairly decent job of replacing infrastructure 20 years ago, but that's the sewer life is 20 years, and not a whole lot of maintenance has been done, or a lot of forethought or planning has been done for that. And so unfortunately we're playing catch up with this, and so it's something we need to take a real hard look at and figure out how we're going to do the funding. This also comes into play when we're looking to do our rate studies, because we'll have to incorporate, these are real costs that need to happen, and once we do the rate study, we'll be able to incorporate this into the future rates.
And guys, I don't want to underestimate the rate study, because obviously we had committed to, I believe 22 is going to be a baseline year, or we're going to use 23? 22 baseline, and then do the rate study in 23. As you can see, sewer is drowning.
Yeah.
And water is just above the water, and then, you've all heard, and we've talked about, the sewer district, rate study was done, and the project that's going on over there that is gonna raise rates to the cities. So the cities are gonna, in turn, gonna have to look at after they get their rate studies done, to see what kind of impact it's gonna be to everyone else. So, we're working on that stuff, and you're right, Billy, I think it's gonna be you're gonna have to take a really hard look, and the USB will have to take a really hard look at the projects and say, hey, this is something we gotta do right now, and this is something we might be able to push off till 25 or whatever, and it's hard to determine that, because things can go south in a hurry.
Yeah.
But I think you're gonna have to make your best guesses. And it's a shame that there wasn't any forethought and planning done.
Well, just like you was talking with the Tanners Creek dredging, same thing with the sewer system. There was just not a good plan in place to do so much per year, and that's happened for a lot of years now. And so now we're going to play catch up, but once we get there, and we got a plan in place, we'll be in good shape. It's just getting over that hurdle, to get there.
But they did studies, multiple studies, and didn't move on it.
Yeah.
That's where it was.
You're exactly right.
You know what I mean?
Same
And not
with-
throwing anybody under the
the
bus,
same with
but they
rates.
paid money to do these studies and didn't take that advice, and this is where we're at today.
The same with rates.
Yeah.
I mean, for years, I sat in the audience and listened to the utility director at that time even say, you know, hey, we gotta do something with the rates. And then it just the can got pushed down the road. It's what I've been saying for a long time here is, you know, the reason all this proactive stuff wasn't done is because we were so used to just writing a check. When something went wrong, we just wrote a check.
Right over there.
You know,
MDF.
Mr. Fetty, write a check, you know? And now we don't do things like that, and we don't have that opportunity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's, 'cause LMU was subsidized by Riverboat
Right, and we were not getting
years.
near the money that we used to there.
for years. Yeah,
Millions of dollars a year subsidization.
absolutely.
But now
Have to be sustainable.
we're keeping track of the finances the way it should be, and it's reared its head now, you know, and, we see the true picture, and right now it's not pretty.
No.
You got some good people helping you with that, right?
Absolutely.
So,
Well, thanks a lot, Mayor. Just make us all depressed.
I know.
No, I appreciate it.
Questions,
Yeah.
guys, before I close up?
I
Hey,
want to thank all
thanks,
you
Billy.
guys as well.
Yep. Thank you.
Mr.
Thank you guys for letting us
Bryson Data Center, we got to talk about, man.
Yeah.
More and more and more.
No, I'll tell you what, the department heads and the supervisors and
Yeah,
stuff,
greatly appreciated.
I appreciate them taking the time to look at their
Yes.
individual stuff, but,
And can I say just
Yeah.
one thing before
Absolutely.
you adjourn?
yeah.
And did you notice Richard didn't spend much money next year?
He spent it all this year.
Well, I don't, the only
We didn't
thing I
give him
gotta-
any more, you guys didn't give him any more to
The
spend.
only thing I gotta say about it, he sat back there and he ain't said a word.
He's gotta have more pickleball tournaments and goat yoga.
I was
Make
happy to
money.
hear about the
Yes.
pickleball being put up on the hill.
Yes.
That will be a big hit
Yeah,
with our regulars down there.
yep, I agree. It's the right thing to do.
Whatever pickleball is, let's do it.
Yep. I just want to make council aware before we adjourn. I think I had brought it up at a public meeting where the library is going to do a fishing derby or something up on the hill. And I told them they had to send us their the insurance from the guy that's doing the promotion. I got that today, so I'll make sure you guys get a copy. I'll get it to Guinevere, and then she'll make sure you guys get a copy. That's on July 8th from 4 to 6 p.m. Just so you guys know that we got that. It should be good to go.
Are
Chief, there should
you,
be plenty of fish left over from your fishing derby up there, shouldn't there? We didn't catch them all, did we?
Everybody takes them out.
Are you gonna stock it some more?
No, we're done stocking.
Hey, I seen something
Plenty
on
of minnows
Facebook.
up there.
I seen
Can we
something
go
on
for an
Facebook, it's
adjournment,
neat.
please? We'll keep talking.
Yeah,
You know how they put them fish in the, hold on, I'm
I'll,
not
I'll
done.
entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move, Mayor.
Second?
Second.
I ain't second, I know.
Opposed?
Yeah.
Yeah, let him.
Yeah.